we're back. For our final practice in Google Drawing, we are going to turn this apple into what's called a vector drawing. A vector is really just a fancy digital art word for a flat shape. So for instance, these organic shapes we made over here, those are vectors. They're just a flat digital shape. So we are going to turn this from a photograph, well, it's kind of a photograph, it's got a little added on leaf there, from this photograph into a vector drawing. And you'll see what that means as we go. Basically, we are going to make a bunch of shapes, and we're going to fill them in with different colors. And in the end, it's going to look like a cool apple. So the first step is to zoom in. When you're working on something, always zoom in to the portion you're working on. So we're going to go up to this little magnifying lens with the plus in it, and that will help us zoom in. I feel like Google Drawings is a little bit nicer with zooming in than zooming out. Like if I went a little too far to zoom out, I have to go to the little drop-down menu and I have to choose zoom out. So there's not just an automatic, I can't seem to find a function that changes that quickly into a zoom out. So to go back to that menu. So I'm going to take my zoom button, zoom out, and I'm going to go back up. This is still with the polyline tool, but I'm going to go back up to the regular lines. See the regular lines there, and I'm going to choose curved. And what I'm going to do is, using my 2-finger touchpad method that I'm getting so good at, I am going to click and follow the outline of the apple. I'm going to do the big outline first. So when we're doing this, I want you to work big to small. And notice my line is not perfect. I can adjust this later. I can fix it up. I can edit it out. So my sloppy line here is not going to be the end all be all for this shape. I can fix it if I see things I want to fix. But I'm just going around and I'm just going to assume the curve of the apple behind there until I get there. Okay. So once I get to the beginning of my line again, it's going to enclose that shape. Now, this, like I said, not perfect, but it's a good starting point, and it's the biggest shape in my apple. I want to use the biggest shape first, and then I want to work towards the front. But a big part of that being problematic is that I can't see the other shapes right now. So I am going to go up to this fill color. It looks like a little paint bucket. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to make it transparent. And for now, I'm going to leave that outline just so I can see that I have that shape. Later on, I'm going to change that. Now, if I want to adjust that shape, I can go up to the select tool and I can double click on my line and see all these little purple points here. I can adjust those by clicking and dragging them to fit my shape a little bit better. And it doesn't take a lot, just a little tiny adjustment here and there will make my shape more accurate. So take a minute, fix the shape now. And then I know that this part's going to be behind a leaf later on. With each shape you create, it's almost like you're adding a different layer. Like if you're making a collage and you cut out different pieces of paper and you put one piece of paper on top of another. It's the same thing we work with here. And in Photoshop, it's called layers. So same idea applies here. This is going to be the bottom layer. Each shape I make is going to be laying on top of this. And later we can change the order. Okay, so I've got that done. I'm going to go back over to my curve tool. And I'm going to now start making different shapes. I'm going to make this stem shape next. I'm going to, make sure your tool is selected and click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. And you just go right on top of any shapes you have. And so this is going to happen to you sometimes. It might cut off before you get a chance to enclose it, in which case you have to just go to the undo tool and undo that and try again. I have had a little bit of struggles with this happening to me. You just got to be patient, and sometimes it just does weird things. It's technology, it doesn't always behave the way we want it to, but I managed to get it enclosed that time. I'm going to go to my bucket. I'm going to make it transparent. And now you're going to have to use your own judgment. I'm going to select certain areas to circle and make those areas slightly different. Like for instance, you see this back area of the apple. I'm going to make that its own shape. Now I'm going to have to put it behind that stem later. I'm going to have to redo my order. It doesn't matter what it looks like behind that leaf. I'm going to try to follow the shape of the outside, but this is a little bit darker than this front part of the apple. So I'm going to make that transparent. Then I am going to circle around this highlight. Look at this cool highlight we've got here. Anytime you see an area that is a lighter or a darker value, either a highlight or a shadow, let's make that a new shape and just keep making it transparent. So I'm going to go over here. Now I could do this for a really long time. And I could make as many different shapes as I want. But this is just a practice. When we get to the next project, you're really going to spend some time on this. So just pick out some of the major shapes and outline them. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and do this leaf. There's probably a few more shapes in the apple I could use, and I'm not keeping this leaf shape too perfect. I can always adjust that later on. I'm going up to make it transparent. Uh-oh, got that little string. I'm going to click on the little arrow. If you ever get that string, click on the little arrow. Okay, now I'm going to go back, choose my line, and I'm going to make this leaf. And I can make it a little bit bigger if I want. I can try to follow the outline really close. Uh-oh, it clicked off. I am going to undo, click my select tool to get rid of that string, and try it one more time. So if at first you don't succeed, just do it over. That is the saying, right? And I'm making this kind of sloppy. You can, the more times you click, the more danger you have of accidentally cutting it off. All right, I'm going to try it one more time. But just have a little patience with it. There's that bell. Okay, and I'm going to make that transparent. Okay, so now the next video, we're going to talk about how to color and adjust these. I'm going to go on and I'm going to make a few more shapes around some of these different shades and highlights. I'm just outlining the shapes and highlights that I see right now. And that is our goal.